Hey, 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 Angie Rae here with Girl That's Toxic. Really good to see you as always. Like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that notification button. Guess what? More of me and your girl Renee. Sit back and listen to this conversation. We might start talking about basketball wives, but then we really get into some deep discussions that our community needs to have. So I hope you'll watch and enjoy. So I think I read that Jennifer is engaged.
Today. Mhm.
Huh?
Today.
Is she?
She's engaged
Oh,
today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, but we gotta hope and pray it lasts longer until she gets married. We can't really count a relationship until the marriage is on the table with these types of women. And I'm speaking directly on the show. I'm not trying to attack her character in any type of way.
no,
I'm saying this is all
no.
show related. But Jennifer, if you want us to believe that this man wants to be in your life and that he is actually single and he ain't here to sham you and steal your money just like the other ones did, then you got to prove to us that you're going to get married. Get married at least. If you get married and you married for one day, I would say this is a real relationship. Okay. That's the only
I
way I can
did
call it.
I did read that it she was the housewife or the person on the show who was the wealthiest. And I think I read that her wealth was 40 million and I believe Shaunie's is 35. And then
Hmm.
people like Evelyn and Tammy, I looked at their wealth and it was like the same 4, 3.5 million, whatever.
Right.
But,
Um,
you know,
I'm
that's
a,
a lot
I'm
of
a,
money.
I'm gonna just be honest with you, Ange. I never really understood, and I wanted to make sure I had his name right before I said it. I never really understood why Jennifer had to be with Eric. Eric Williams was one of the. I didn't really feel like they matched. I felt like he was super disrespectful. I don't like the way he looks personally. It's just his attitude makes him look a lot worse.
Yep,
And I'm speaking on just the attitude, not appearance.
absolutely.
Um, I just feel like he was just so nasty, and it made him look even uglier because
Yes.
he said so many things to her, he downgraded her, he
Oh my
did
god.
so many things to make her less than. And
You're
Jennifer,
nothing.
even though I'm not fond of her, I would say, "Why?"
You're nothing. He said, "You're
Yeah,
nothing. You're about to
yeah,
be 40." All these things that people try to say to bring you down. But what I saw in her is a great strength. And she was like, "Shut up, blah, blah, blah." I thought she handled him. I thought when she got to a point where it was over, and he would say this, "Let's just split stuff down the middle." And then he said to a buddy of his that, "You don't get anything of mine going forward." Well, of course not. She won't be married to
yeah,
you. And it depends on what these things are. If y'all
yeah,
got businesses together, you're gonna have to, sort that out, or else she
yeah.
will get
But
things
he was
going
really
forward.
disrespectful to her. I really didn't like his attitude.
He
Just
was,
nasty
and
person.
I don't think I think the majority of her wealth has come from her, meaning businesses that she started, and it might have been with his money.
What
But
what does she do exactly?
well, remember she came up with, and I looked it up to see if it's still a thing. She
Mhm.
came up with a lip gloss line, and they
Mm.
actually show her, going and talking to a group of people that actually make the cosmetics, and she joined forces with them. And I saw that, and I said, well, let me see if is still a thing. And supposedly, this lip gloss is a thing. I
Did
don't
you
have
I
any
think I
of
might
them.
try it out. I might give her a little coin and see what it's about. I never had it, but I'll try it.
So then, did you know that Shawnee had a shoe line?
Shaunie has a lot of things going on. I think she has the shoe line, she has the marijuana business going on. She has a
Mm.
lot of things. Shaunie is a boss. She has rental property. She has a lot of she's trying to build a name for herself and try to get out of that whole thing of being Shaq's wife. So that's one thing I will say. She's a hustler. I love that about
Yeah,
Shaunie, considering
yeah.
everything else. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I do too. And I'm sorry, but she quit being Shaq's wife a long time ago in my mind because she has held her own, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And certainly, what'll be interesting, Renee, is to see how she comports herself now that she's married to a minister. Because even when I look at pictures of her now, she
Mhm.
doesn't even look like herself. She looks very different to me. And I don't know. Maybe it's because her hair is darker now. I don't know. I don't know. But she just looks very
Mhm.
different now. And I really look, being a first lady, good luck with that.
I mean,
That's not
can
the
we
job I
just be
want.
honest? why is it that people are getting on people who are marrying who they want to marry? I feel like this. I don't understand it. You got pastors now who are on OnlyFans, and it's not right. I'm not saying it's right at all, but you got pastors on OnlyFans and being exposed. You had pastors who were actually seeing other women outside the church. You had the situation with Giselle Bryant's husband, Jamal Bryant. He was actually caught sleeping around with other women. He's, it's kind of like now these new age pastors are doing the unthinkable. And then what I hate is that the community and people who we're looking from the outside, we want to say, "Oh, I can't believe her. You call yourself a pastor's wife. Well, what about the pastor? Because the pastor he's going outside of the norm and he's
That's
doing
right.
these things that we know aren't right. So why is it that we pay attention to what the wife is doing rather than the
Thank you.
pastor? I
Thank
don't
you.
get that. You know?
Thank you. It's straight up women being misogynistic to other women. I mean, just
Yeah.
it's this happens all the time where there's a situation with an African American couple, and on the regular, people will take the side of the dude, irrespective of what the issue may be, and not the woman. And we saw this play out in a political way, during Clarence Thomas's
Yeah.
confirmation hearing to become
Mhm.
a Supreme Court justice, and Anita Hill, who used to work for him,
Mhm.
we all saw how black folks did not support her. They supported him. And I'm
Yeah.
like, y'all are supporting somebody who ain't for you. He's going to get on that court and do
Mhm.
everything that's antithetical for this community. And
Mhm.
snappericious, that's what happened. It's the
Yep.
same
And the
thing.
same thing in media, Ange. Same thing in media.
Yes.
We women in media cannot get a leg up. And it's sad because black women especially, and I know this is going somewhere else, but we're gonna get back on track. I'm sorry, Ange. But
No,
but
girl, please.
black women especially, they are so gun ho on supporting other men and uplifting other men who has done so many different things, and no matter how bad it is they still support them. But as soon as a woman steps into position and she's qualified to do the job or good at what she does, black women especially won't give credit to that woman, because you know why? Everything for a woman right now is they're always jealous of the next woman getting ahead. They can
That's
never
right.
look at another woman and give her that congratulations and accept that this woman is who she is without
Mhm,
having some type of fault or error in that person. That
mhm,
is what I hate. And right
mhm,
now, they're taking over the media. You got your
mhm.
gay, well, LGBTQ, I put it that way, it's easier to say that. They're taking over. No one wants to hear a woman with an opinion or her views on anything, because why? They're going to these communities uplifting these other people, these other men, and these in these different sectors, even straight men, with these panels. We had, what's the guy? Kevin Samuels was one. He gained over 1 million followers, and a lot of women did not believe in what he was
Right.
basically teaching. I won't call it preaching, but teaching the people, and it's crazy to me how they will so they will go into this whole thing of supporting these types of people that spread toxic information, but you can't go to anyone who's doing positive media.
Yep.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind. I
I'm
don't get
glad
it.
you mentioned the Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate type people,
Mhm.
who believe, that women are we why did God even invent us? He invented us to be there for them for their every whim. And I
Mhm.
watched a a lot of Kevin Samuels. I just one day, pardon me, please, one day I was like, let me watch this dude. And I would watch African American women just really trying to hold their own with this guy, and he's just dragging you down.
Mhm.
So I want to repeat what Renee said. We are talking specifically about the personas on television, on
Right.
a television screen of people. We are not talking about people in real life. We don't know
Mhm.
them. We
Right.
don't know them. But what we do know is that we have eyes and ears, and we see
Right.
what you are putting out. And
Right.
part of what you're putting out reflects who you are in
Mhm.
real life, because there's
Mhm.
certain things I won't do that reflects me in real life, that reflects, my integrity. That's what I'm
Mhm.
always looking for, the integrity. And
Right.
when you're doing a ratchety show especially when you're considered the lead, like Shaunie is,
Mhm.
then you are the lead, bully, mean girl, all those things that have been said on the, first 3 seasons that I watched,
Right.
bullies, And, I don't I'm all about uplifting and strengthening women, and when I don't see that happening, it really Imma be honest, it guts me. It really guts me, and I just am so disappointed in the the women on this show, Alright, let me ask you this, and then we'll move on. What
Mhm.
what did you think of Ocho Cinco and that specific potential engagement or marriage? I'm sorry, they did marry. They were they married as long as I was?
I think they got
They were married
married, but I don't know
they were
exactly
married
how
for
long that
41
lasted.
days.
Yeah, it was very
That's
short
worse than
marriage.
me.
Yeah. Now, I might be a little bit biased on this because I love Ocho, by the way, call me. Anyway,
No, no, no. Do be clear. I think he is divine.
yes.
And I would listen to what he would say. I would pause. After he would start talking, Renee, I would pause and I would articulate to my dude why what he is saying makes sense and that
Right.
people need to listen to this. No, I
Mhm.
I am a fan.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
yeah. So,
was
mhm.
confused as to why he was with her. Go ahead.
Right. I think they had a lot in common. I think him and Evelyn made a good pair, considering I think they both kind of bumped heads because they're both very toxic people. They in some way. I'm not saying in every aspect, but I think that they had more in common. And when it came to that part of their relationship, when they had a disagreement, they were too much alike, and then they ended up it was explosive.
Yeah.
And I think the issue is with Ocho is that he's always been the kind of flashy guy. He always has to be the one in the center of attention. He jokes a lot, and I feel like for Evelyn, she wanted somebody that was going to be, um even though she liked his sense of humor, I think it was a little bit much at times, and she really wanted to see a more serious side of him. But at the same time, she's the woman in the relationship, and Evelyn herself is a bad mamma jamma. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. As far as physically, appearance wise, Evelyn is gorgeous, And I think when you got two gorgeous people together, and he's like, no, that's why I tell women, don't get with somebody you got to fight for the attention if you want to be the one that is always
That's
complimenting the
right.
relationship because you got men nowadays, they're stepping up their game and they just as much as attention getter as you. And
That's right.
it can be very toxic. And I think that's what happened. But I do believe they were made for each other. It's just the fact that it got too bad and hands were laid on each other. They had a bad moment. It was wrong. He was wrong for putting his hands on her, and she was wrong for putting her hands on him. And it turned into something very toxic. And now this man doesn't even have a career anymore. You know, I can't even see his ass on TV, and I love watching him. Okay, so
What
that's
do you
really
mean?
bad
What
for me.
happened? ¿Qué
I mean,
pasó?
when he played ball, he played football, of course, and I used to love watching him on the screen. And so now I'm not able to see him show his little butt off on the screen. I enjoyed
I
that.
wonder I wonder what he's doing.
Um, I honestly, I think more social media. I follow him on
Oh,
Instagram. You know, um,
so cute. You
but I feel
follow
like
Ocho Cinco. Imma
yeah,
follow
I
him.
think yeah, I do. I follow him. Don't judge me.
Oh, I'm not. I'm getting ready to follow him. I'm like,
He's really
shoot.
nice to look at, and he's so funny. He's really funny. However, I'm not taking away what he did. I think what he did was wrong, and,
And I haven't gotten to that yet. I mean, I've
yeah,
I've read, and situations can get out of hand very quickly.
right.
Um, when you have 2 passionate people and,
Yeah. And
uh-uh, guess
he
what?
just seems like he could be such a great person, and I believe that he's got a good heart. I just think what happened, it just went all wrong, and it was a moment, and we've had our moments, we've all made mistakes, and I think he's truly learned from that experience. But what I will say is that I see now that we're in a situation where a lot of the men on television are that's representing Black men, we're seeing a situation where now we don't really know what a real man is because the vision that they're giving us is every Black man or any man in reality television is a cheater. This is what we're seeing. And our Black women, the people that are head of these TV shows and productions, they're saying, let them go ahead and let's put him out there as being this bad person and cheating and never being faithful. And this is what I hear on Basketball Wives. Every man on Basketball Wives that been in the league We're not talking about their great careers. We're talking about who they slept with and why they slept with them and how I'm divorcing him and how much money I'm getting and why I'm no longer with him and what he said to me, how he treated the kids, how he doesn't pay child support. We're seeing every light of a bad man on reality TV. There's nothing positive that's uplifting black men,
Hmm.
you
I
know?
love that. I love that you said this. I'm really enjoying this conversation because if y'all don't want real talk, you can turn away from this podcast right now, and Renee and I will not be offended
Mm,
because this is real talk. And
mhm,
it's very important that we as African Americans talk about the way we are portrayed,
mhm,
okay, on
mhm.
television, web series, whatever,
Right,
because this is the opinion then that society has,
right.
because people like to lump people.
Yeah,
Black people do
yeah,
all this, white people do all, people like to lump. And people
yeah.
also we're all lazy. We like to shortcut. It's a
Mhm.
black man, oh, he's probably a cheater. That's bullshit.
Right,
That's
right,
bullshit. But
right.
let's reiterate Renee's point. This is what Hollywood wants us to see when it comes to reality television and when it comes to our community.
Mhm,
And what Renee has done is she's just called uncle on it. Nuh-uh.
mhm,
I'm calling you out for what you're doing. I see, I peep
mhm,
you.
mhm.
And all of this negativity is very damaging to our community.
Right,
So not just to us individuals, but to the entire community.
right.
And it's not like I want white people and everybody to love us. That's not it.
Mhm,
It's my issue that Hollywood stereotypes all of us. For them,
mhm,
white women are this way, black women are that way, Hispanic men are this way. There's all this stereotyping, and it just perpetuates and it keeps going on and on. And then with reality television, one of the reasons it took me a long time to watch even one reality show is because of the fussing and the fighting. And I'm like, what are we doing?
mhm.
And I do
Let me just say
understand.
this too, Ange. It's the fussing and fighting, but I gotta also call attention to the networks. You remember there were black networks that came out and they had an opportunity. People kept saying they don't have enough of us on television. That there's not enough black people. It was a time when we were fussing because black people didn't get the same
That's
type
right.
of attention on television than white people. But
That's right.
now we are in a new time where black people can actually show off their skills. But when we turn
Mhm.
on television and we go to black entertainment TV or Tyler Perry's pretty good. I'm not gonna put him in there because I think he's pretty
Yeah.
good with his shows.
Yep.
He has meaning in this comedy, so I'm not gonna put him in there. He's totally separate. He's
Yep.
something that's actually refreshing. But
Definitely.
these other networks, Zeus Network, VH1, BET, VH1 may not be a black network, but they have a lot of black people on that
Thank
station.
you.
If black people want to change, then why are you giving them? You're saying white people love to portray us as being these thieves and criminals and strippers and hoes. Okay, but when you go on television on a black network, you're doing it yourself.
That's
You're
right.
actually the hoe. You're actually showing half of everything. You're showing everything on your body. There's nothing left
Mhm.
to the imagination.
That's
Now,
right.
a black rapper, in somebody's opinion, if it's a male, he's got to be talking about drugs, killing
Mhm.
people. He's got to talk about making money, doing it wrong way,
Mhm.
having more than one wife,
Mhm.
sleeping around with many different girls,
Mhm.
calling these women bees, hoes, whatever.
Mhm.
You got a vision of a perception. Well, I guess people think when they think of a female rapper, the first person to come to mind would be a Cardi B, which I don't necessarily think that should be because Cardi B isn't a good example for black entertainment. And
Right.
that's just my opinion. I'm not saying she's not a sweet person, but she's not a good example. We don't want women showing everything they got and then we're saying, "Oh, this is great." It's not great because now we have this issue where every rapper, every female rapper, they're getting worse and worse by the minute. We got a
Yep.
sexy red. I ain't taking
Yep.
nothing from the girl for doing what she does, but a sexy red, I can't understand. I had to look at that twice and say, "Are we living in the same planet?" Because honestly, Sexy Red, this is entertainment. This is real music. Come on
Agreed.
now.